Well, we are back with the Xav Builds Podcast. This is where we talk all things building, the good, the bad, and everything we can do better. My goal is simple, to give real insight into construction, to sit down with designers, builders, tradies, suppliers, anyone connected to this industry or just passionate about what they do, and share their stories, their challenges, and their wins. Because let's be honest, construction isn't easy. It's tough, it's unpredictable, and sometimes it can feel like everything is against you. But it's also one of the most rewarding industries there is. And when it's done right, it is awesome to work in. That's what this podcast is all about. Talking about what works, what doesn't, and how we can all do better. Having real conversations, not corporate ones. Breaking down the barriers between builders, clients, and the system, and finding a better way forward together. I love hearing people's stories, I love this industry, and I love seeing people passionate about what they do. Look, before we jump in, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it with a mate. It really helps get these conversations out there and keeps the momentum going. All right, let's jump into it. Today, I'm joined by a builder who represents what the industry should be about. He's the man behind Heidi Build, a crew of chippies out of Melbourne known for doing things the hard way, the right way. We're diving into why Joel and his team don't build houses anymore, from the art and craft to the reality of running a modern building business. Joel, really great to have you, mate. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on.
Let's jump straight into it. What's your story?
My story. Where do I start?
How many brothers do you have?
I've got 4 older brothers, so I'm the youngest of 4 brothers, of 5 boys.
Yep.
And the next one over from me, so number 4, is 13 years older than me.
Right.
So, yeah, they were all born in Sri Lanka, and then my mum and dad came here in 84, and I was born basically a year after, or almost 9 months after.
Nice.
So they've come down and like, hey, new country, let's have another kid.
So there's 6 of you in total?
5 of us.
5 of you in
Yeah,
total.
so I'm number 5, yeah.
How good's that?
Yeah, look, I mean, it had its good and its bad points. You know, I always said I grew up with 5 fathers, my dad and my 4 older brothers.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot from them as well. I think it sort of helped me mature a little bit quicker.
What are some of the things you can think of that you learned from your brothers?
Oh, holy shit.
Because you started a window company with them, didn't you?
Yeah,
Is that
by accident.
by accident?
Yeah. So, God, that was a lifetime ago. So I finished my apprenticeship and then my brother wanted to make doors and windows wanted to make a bifold door for his house, and he decided to put them on eBay, and they sold for like $4,500, and he's like, fuck, this is great money. And then I gave him a hand with the next one. I actually told him, I'm like, don't build these bifolds yourself. You're going to cock it up. And he's just good on him because he didn't listen to me. He did it. And anyway, we sold one. We sold another one. I started helping him because he needed a frame or a jam for it. And then...
So he had no carpentry experience?
Mate, he's a singer.
He's a singer.
He's a singer. He's a professional entertainer. So, yeah, I think he used a 7 1/4 Makita saw, not even the good one, like, you know, the cheap one that you could buy from Bunnings. So
with the metal base?
Yeah, like the pressed metal base.
Yeah, the pressed metal base, yeah.
And he'd like cut the grooves in for the seals on the doors and stuff. And yeah, I gave him a hand. And make a long story short, effectively it just took off. And then people were messaging us on eBay saying, I missed out on the auction. Can I buy one? And then someone said, can you make me a sliding door? And he was like, no. And I was like, yes, say yes, I can do that, And then it just snowballed.
And now they're a big window company.
Now, we went to Germany. We did 2 study tours in Germany, me and Andre. And, man, that was eye-opening. That's the inspiration for the name Heidi Build.
That's one of the questions I got. Why Heidi Build?
So when we went over to Germany, we saw so many things about windows and doors that was totally contrasting to Australia. It's like we were still making Kingswoods here and they were making, brand new 911s, right, in windows. And we were like, and they were doing them in like 3 minutes. And I think at the time we were like, it takes us like 37 minutes to make this style of window, and they're making a way better one, and it's taking them like 3 minutes because just fully automated, right? So yeah, that was that's my phone. I thought I put it on silent. You mind if I just
grab it, man? Grab it.
I'll just
It might be important.
Such a builder.
Mate, don't stress. This is really giving the insight, see?
Hey, yeah. That's the funny thing, right? Like two builders on a podcast, we're both going to end up at the end of this, like, you got 15 phone calls to catch up on. So we went over to Germany and it was just mind-blowing, right? The technology and the way they were doing things. And I just saw their approach to their trade or their craft. And like they have master carpenters over there. It's not just you become a chippy and you're done, you go subby. It's like you become a carpenter. You can study wood technology over there. Like it's crazy the approach that they have towards their trade. And they don't earn anywhere near the money that, relative money to what carpenters earn in Australia. So it was really eye-opening for me.
There's a bit more prestige with it over there.
Yeah, I think there's more of a just a craftsmanship approach over there, and a real pride and sense in what you say or what you say you do, sort of thing. So when I came back and not to talk too much about the window side of things, but when we came back, the window business just went like that as far as technology, the systems we were doing. We started making German-style windows here. I actually flew to Sydney when I found out there was an auction for this Unicontrol, which is a German machine. Me and Andre flew up to Sydney because we found out this auction was the next day. I was like, we've got to fucking go. So we go up there and we bid on this machine, and I think we spent about 30 grand. Had no idea if it actually worked because it wasn't running. At the time, it was like a deceased estate. And we bought the machine, and we're like, fuck, we've got to pay for this machine. And then we flew back, and my brother's like, well, we've got to pick it up. So I had to drive back, meet like a Franna crane, get transport organised, and it was the worst factory because it was like in a wedged corner where the driveway. So I had to like get this thing out on skates. We had a Franna up in the worst angle and got this machine out. And then we got it back, and we were like, how do we use this thing? How do we turn it on? Because most of it was in German. And we learned so much, man.
Probably no YouTube back then, was there?
Mate, there was YouTube, but I doubt there was anything on a Unicontrol in YouTube, or if there was, it was in German, right? So anyway, we learnt shitloads in such a short period of time. And eventually the business just got so big and so systemized and so process driven that I was just in the office. I was just talking to architects, talking to new clients, selling windows effectively, doing all the marketing, and I was like, this is not where I wanted my career to go. And obviously running a business with your brothers can be difficult, especially when there's such a big age gap. There's that dynamic you got to work with. It's always difficult.
Definitely.
Running a business with family. But yeah, that age gap created an extra level of difficulty, which, was really straining for us at the time. We did well, like we navigated through it, and, I exited the business over a period of a couple of years, and we've managed to have still really great relationships together. So none of our relationships have really suffered, which I'm like really thankful for, and I think my parents are really happy about. But
I hear a lot of those stories that where it went bad, and and it's lucky you got out of it, and I'm sure that you had lots of conversations and worked it out pretty well.
Yeah, and the great thing is their business is thriving. It's doing really, really well, and I feel like my business is doing really well as well. So it's good. Like you don't want one to do well and not the other. But yeah, going through that and then starting Heidi Build and coming back in a roundabout way to the name. Names don't mean anything. Like they just mean nothing. The Red Hot Chili Peppers has got to be the most stupid name for a band, if you think about it. Yeah. Or the Beatles. Like what a crap animal to name your band after. But these are like some of the most famous bands in the world. And it's because they made that name mean something. The Rolling Stones, Harley Davidson, these are all names that people have made mean something. So when I came up with Heidi Build, I was like, Heidi Build.
That's it.
I was driving down the freeway, actually, just come out of the tunnel in Melbourne. I'm like, I'm going to call it Heidi Build because it's short. It's like a nod back to Germany. Also, building industry is super male dominant and it's a female name. And I think females are generally more diligent, whereas guys tend to be glory hogs and just leave a wake of destruction in their path.
That's a really good analogy,
yeah.
actually.
So I was like, maybe that'll help me not be like that, as well. So that's where the name Heidi Build came from.
And when you were sitting in that office, was it, and you're sort of a bit over it, were you sort of like, this isn't my calling, I want to get back out on site and be amongst it? Was that what it was?
That 100% was what it was. Yeah, I was like, man, I hate being in an office. I just felt cooped up. I felt bored, and I used to go home. I used to sleep so well, like as a teenager, and then as a carpenter, mate. I fell asleep on the speaker stack at a nightclub once. Like I was just like, because I was doing cashies all the time, but then I still wanted to go out.
Yeah,
and I just like bang, fell asleep on the speakers, just blasting in the ear. And then, when I was in the office, I was like, I can't fucking sleep. This sucks.
Because, I do find that hard. I get sort of locked in here sometimes, and you don't have that physical draining that you sort of need.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that happened for me with Heidi Build is when we were doing all the architectural work and doing like multiple, $1 million plus jobs at a time, I was back in the office again.
Mm.
And I was like, fuck, I'm back there again. And I just don't want to be there. And as much as it's always glorified to run this massive business and turn over 5, 10, 15, $20 million a year and grow this huge empire, I was like, well, I don't think I actually want to do what it takes to get there. Like if that's what it takes, I don't want it. As much as I've had all these big ambitions, I worked out, I'm like, nah, I'm not willing to do that. That's not why I became a builder.
Definitely. You want to be out, active, on site, making decisions, but in the trenches essentially.
Yeah.
Leading from the front.
Yeah. When you did your apprenticeship, like, did you do it with a boss that was on the tools or?
He started out on the tools.
Yep.
For the first guy I worked for.
Yeah.
And that was awesome because I learnt so much from him. And it was good to talk to the guy running the business as well.
Yeah.
But then he went into the office and I didn't see him as much, and we had a lot of subcontractors working for us, and some of the subcontractors wouldn't even teach me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get paid to teach you.
Yeah.
Piss off,
Yeah.
But yeah, I did enjoy that, working right next to the guy that was making all the decisions for sure.
Yeah. I think it's really beneficial if you can work with a smaller crew or where you're actually, communicating with your boss fairly frequently. I think that can have a massive impact on a younger guy's life.
Definitely. Well, I've learned like some of the things that we teach our new apprentices, like from fundamentals to like answering the phone.
Getting to work on time.
Getting to work on time. Some of the, you call them up, hello. It's like, no, you answer the phone, hi, so-and-so speaking. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? If you don't know the number, that's generally how you answer the phone.
Yeah, it's not so, hey.
Yeah.
It's like, man, are you like depressed? Do you want to be here or?
Exactly.
What's the go?
Yeah. I want to hear you smile when I'm calling you.
Yeah.
So yeah, just stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I love being out on site, and sometimes I turn up there and the boys are throwing roof sheets, or they're laying a deck and the shirts are off, the music's cranking. I'm like,
want to be back there.
I want to be back there as well,
Yeah. And that's why I've gotten my business now doing what we're doing. It's more the trade of building rather than the business of building. So the business side of things tends to tick along pretty quickly for us, and we can focus more on the actual doing, right? And I've worked out that that's my sort of sweet spot. Like we can make good money, the business runs well, the boys are happy, and I'm happier too. And if I'm happier, their lives tend to be a little bit easier as well. You know what it's like if you're having a shit time as the leader of the business.
You set the tone for everyone else.
Yeah. You're making things harder for everyone.
So you've gone through a real transition in Heidi Build over the past, 4 years, 5 years?
Yeah, so I started in 2017, and then we just lost shitloads of money off the back of COVID. Over $1 million we lost. Just kept pouring it into the business every month. It's like 100 grand, 200 grand, 50 grand, and it just kept going. And then we just started to run out of money. And I said to my wife, I was like, I think we have to do something. I don't think I can. My biggest thing was I was like, I actually can't afford the ego of being an architectural builder. Because that was what it was. I was like, I'm an architectural builder. And it's really cool when you go to a party, right? And
for someone that doesn't understand what an architectural builder is, can you explain that?
Well, so you're building for architects, right? So you're doing really custom stuff. You're sort of pushing the boundary on materialities, on fabrication. You're trying to make one material work with another material that maybe they're not supposed to really work together. So you've got to work out how that junction is going to come together. So I love the problem solving stuff. or you get really difficult sites. I mean, we did a job in Portsea that we thought it was going to be a 300 cube site cut and ended up being 1,000 cube. Just grossly underestimated, obviously. But the site started at the street, it ramped up, and then it just ran downhill, you know. And that was a big build, like really custom. That was for Chamberlain Architects.
So the architects really come up with the idea, and they come up with the look and the feel of the home, and then it's up to the builder or the architectural builder to work out how everything marries in and actually how to construct the thing.
Yeah, I know. I think, you know, the whole architectural builder thing can be something that's sort of thrown around a little bit, but not every home we did was designed by award-winning architects, obviously, but we did a lot of more experimental stuff. So like those ones in Portsea, they had curved brick walls. It had to have a curved box gutter. You know, we had to deal with that with the roof plumber going, hang on, this is technically a change of direction. But it's like the biggest sweep. Like it went for 10 meters, this curve. And I'm like, how is this a change of direction? But we had to put a sump in, and it was like fucking annoying to put this sump in this house. And we had to work around that.
How to do it and how to make it look good.
Well, yeah, how to make it not look like a fucking dirty big box in the master bedroom, effectively, right?
And how did you lose money there? Was it?
We lost money from the start, man. We didn't price things correctly. I think we missed things. I mean, and all builders miss things. You can almost guarantee on a job you're going to miss something. And then
now fixed price contracts.
Yeah, like a lot of it was fixed price. We had some PC, PS items, but it's probably just a bit of inexperience from a contractual side of things. And also it was bad timing. The
construction costs went out.
I really have thought about this, and I never want to really sound political, but the Vic Big Build fucked my business, right? And they talked about we're creating jobs, and no, you fucking didn't create jobs. You shifted all the jobs from Resi into the tunnel and into the East-West link and into this and into that. My brickie went from 8 bricklayers to fucking 2 in the blink of an eye. And that was one of my biggest issues is he's like, I can't do your job, man. I'm like, but you quoted it. You agreed to it. We're going for it. I've sent you a purchase order.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I've got 2 bricks because there's me and another guy and it's 30,000 bricks. He's like, I can't do it. And I knew this guy since I was a kid, right? And mate, I was ringing around everywhere. And brickies are rare as rock and horse shit anyway.
Yeah.
On a good day, and this is off the back of COVID when
it was nuts.
Mate, and brickies labourers are one of those things like, mate, if there's an east-west tunnel project and they're going to make 3-4 grand for doing less work, they're going.
100%.
You can't blame them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that fucked us. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're locked into a price essentially, and then you're trying to do a build, and there's no labour out there, and the labour that is out there is at a premium because you've got these other big projects going on that are sucking all the labour out of the resi market. Yeah.
Yeah. So say you've agreed to $2 a brick. Brickie now wants $2.40.
That money comes out of your margin.
That money comes out of your margin. Plus it's delayed your lockup by 4 to 6 weeks because you couldn't find the brickie in the first place. So it's stringing out your cash flow, which is just horrible for building. And then you're now paying a premium, which is coming out of your margin, which margins in that architectural building stuff and like, $1 million plus market, they're not super big. It's not like, you're talking about some projects with 10, 12, maybe 15% was good, for anything over, $1 million.
Makes it hard when stuff like that happens, and you can't forecast that either.
Oh man,
like you there's no way for you to be able to predict that sort of stuff's going to happen. And that's the, I guess, difficulty of being a builder in that space as well.
Yeah, well, one thing I've learned now is you really need to watch the downside. Like you need to sort of cover your ass, so to speak. So like, builders that want to go and do $1 million, $1 million job. My question to them now is like, do you have 350 grand cash now? And if you don't, maybe you shouldn't be doing that job, or you need everything to go right for the job to work, And don't tell me you're going to just load the front end of the contract and stuff, because no smart client will really agree to a front end loaded contract, and nor should they, because you're only just probably making a rod for your own back because you'll run out of money towards the end. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's just really difficult I think, thing to navigate these days.
Definitely. Now, you talk about craft a lot.
Yeah.
Where did that come from, and what does that word mean to you personally?
Oh, look, it probably comes from just my general tendency to be a bit OCD with everything that I do. I'm like one of those guys that if my desk isn't super organized, I'm stressed before I even start working. My car has to be clean. I like my blades to be sharp, everything like that. And there'll be times where it's, a mess and things aren't working right, but I'm super stressed when that's happening. And I guess that's what really resonated for me when I went to Germany. They have this word, I think it's pronounced genau, which is like, it translates to exactly, right? But they say it all the time. So it's like constantly in their vocabulary, it's exactly. It's like 100%, right? And that kind of thought process or that mentality has just always resonated with me. I love just going for that last.
The 1%ers.
Those little 1%ers and trying to get that perfection, I guess. I mean, I've learned to let go of that. My father-in-law is German and he's an engineer and he's a first-class machinist. So he works like to thous, super accurate. And one day I was having an argument with a trade and I was in his backyard when I was having this argument with the trade. And he was like, and in his veggie garden and he heard me and I'm like, because the guy wanted to get paid, but it was like he'd finished 95% of the scope and he's like, I need to get paid. I'm like, but you haven't finished, so I can't charge. Just finish that last 5%. He's like, well, it's 95% complete. I'm like, yeah, but it's 5% completely fucking incomplete. Yeah. Right? And I'm like, what the fuck is with guys? No, because it's just on a rant. And my father-in-law, he's like 6'3", big German guy. He taps him on the back and says, Joel, in the pursuit of perfection, excellence is good enough.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a really good one. And I realized in that moment, my German engineering father-in-law is telling me that I'm too much of a perfectionist. And I thought, yeah, maybe I'm strung a little tight at the moment, So I've actually learned to let go of that a little bit, and I've learned to enjoy the process rather than the end result. So you might have seen that window I've been making.
I have, yeah.
Yeah. And
love it.
I loved it. I loved doing that, challenging myself, setting up the jig,
The smell of Western red cedar.
Smell of Western red cedar. After a few days.
Gets old.
Yeah, after a few days it blocks your nose up a little bit. But yeah, it's really nice timber. And I just have that appreciation. I've always had that appreciation for timber or for materials. And now I've learned to slow down, to enjoy the process. And that's really brought that craft back in for me a lot.
Is that your why? Like, is that why you get out of bed each morning? Is that something that really drives you?
Yeah, I think I like creating stuff. Like I've always been I'm good with finances. I understand accounting principles. You can send me a P&L and I can find out why that P&L is doing what it's doing. I can pick out something out of a spreadsheet, but it just doesn't get me out of bed. Like no one gets to the end of a spreadsheet and goes, fuck yeah, I did that. And even if they did and they go to show someone, the other person's like, I fucking don't care. Like, it is not interesting.
Yeah.
Whereas, you drive past a house that you built or a job that you worked on, and the best thing is, and I say this, I'm like, Daddy built that. I'll tell my kids.
100%.
You're so proud of it, right?
100%.
And I built my daughter's bed. I made a bookshelf for one of my best mates. Her daughter is now, oh shit, she's going to see this and she's going to think, you don't even know how old my daughter is. I want to say she's around 12 or 13. I might be wrong. But I built this bookshelf that looks like a tree. And,
sick.
Mate, she still has it to this day and it still brings them joy. She still loves it. And I think I got it for her when she was born or her first birthday. And I'm like, man, you just can't replicate that in another way. Like doing things with your hands, and especially carpentry. I don't know if you're going to get that real feeling as an electrician.
I agree with you 100%.
You could be like, oh, I made a sick bus bar. Like, lined all my wires up, right? And some guys are like that, which is cool. But carpentry is this kind of ancient, more ancient sort of craft. You can carve wood and you can build something together and screw it and nail it. You get a nice tight miter, you know.
It's tangible. Like you can
Yeah.
see it and walk away from it, come back to it. You
Yeah.
know? I love as well, like as a carpenter, you know, you try and have the secret fixings or you plug your holes, you know what I mean? So the next carpenter that comes along or someone that knows what they're looking at goes, how do they do that?
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether you're born with that craftsman type mindset or whether you developed that. What do you think?
I reckon I developed it. Yeah. I reckon I was always curious. I always liked building, but I was more like into cars and stuff as a kid. Right? I loved anything with a motor or with wheels. My push bike, I was always on it. And then I think we used to build these like shitty little planes and stuff out of wood and make a billy cart and stuff with me and my mate. But there was no real craftsmanship or need to do anything like that. It really came later on when I just wanted to work. I just wanted to be out on site. You know, I wanted to build something. I thought I was going to build skyscrapers, you know, in the city. And yeah, I actually started at RMIT, like a bridging course for architecture, just failed everything aside from working drawings and material studies, which is the only two practical like courses.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, yeah, I don't think this is for me.
Get me out on site.
Yeah. And then the minute I kind of started my trade, it just sort of
Started to build up.
Yeah. You know, I started with a framer because I didn't have a license and struggled to get an apprenticeship. He took me on and he was great. But after about a year or so, I was pretty bored. Like we were just, it was stick building, but we were just pumping them out. You know, pre-cutter would come in with a petrol pre-cut saw on a trailer and we'd just like smack. You'd pre-cut everything in like an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. Flick out your lines and external walls are stood on day one almost, you know, or day two, sorry.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this isn't, I lost 26 kilos in my first year of my apprenticeship because you would just run, right? But where I really honed the craftsmanship thing was from Johnny, the guy that taught me the most about carpentry. He was just super pedantic, mate. And he was like one carpenter in a family of concreters.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he was...
The black sheep.
Yeah, he was. They were like, treat him like he
was...
Or
the white sheep.
Yeah. You're soft.
Yeah, it's 8 a.m. and you haven't even had a beer.
Yeah. He was really pedantic, man. Like he actually taught me something that still stuck with me. I remember doing a toilet in the house, like doing the skirts and arcs. And I hung this door and I arced it. And the miter was a little bit gappy, but I didn't really know any better. And he comes in and he goes, you got to fix that up. And I was like, oh, okay. And he sort of told me off a little bit. And I was like, it's no big deal, you know. He goes, mate, that's the toilet. Someone's going to sit there and stare at that architrave. Because that's the one room you've got to get bang on because there's nothing else for them to do. Back then they didn't have 100%. iPhones to sit on, right? You were in you had maybe a Nokia 3210.
Yeah.
So people would be sitting there and staring at, the door margins, the arc, the skirts, all that little stuff I got taught from the start of my apprenticeship. So I think that's where it kind of developed, and I guess
the little things matter.
It struck a nerve in me, and then I just kept going with that, I guess. Yeah.
What are some other things that he taught you?
Oh, taught me not to talk back. I talked back to him because I was a bit of a smart ass in school too, and I had a bit of a crack at him back once, and he made me clean bricks on the sidewalk for the next 2 days on the nature strip, for the next 2 days in like fucking 38-degree heat.
Bang.
And then every time after that I had an opinion, I just fucking kept to myself. So all good.
And the things that he did on site, I guess, for me, the things that I picked up off carpenters that I was working with was the things they didn't even verbally teach me. Like, I just watched them the way that they would measure, or the way that they would hold a tape, or the way that they would use a circular saw.
Yep.
Is there anything that comes to mind for you like that?
Yeah, well, one of the things that really does come to mind is Johnny used to do his own site set-outs, and so I do my own site set-outs too. And I realised a lot of builders don't do that. They get a land surveyor to do their set-out. Like for a new home, we would do our own set-out, and then we would, dig all the footings, and because he was from a family of concreters, we would pour all the footings. So we did a lot of that vertical integration, I guess, from from when I was an apprentice, which is I think why I do it now. So yeah, the sight set out thing. He used to have a theodolite, which I couldn't remember how to use one now. But yeah, he taught me how to square up a house, run string lines, set hurdles at RLs, and then reduce the RLs through a series of hurdles. So that really came in handy. Like I remember doing that Portsea job, and mate, that thing dropped off like 20 meters or something, and we had to do the set out. The land surveyor did the set out for us because we're like, this is too complex. This is a complex job. Let's not rely just on ourselves. He did the set out, and I was like, something doesn't feel right with this set out. And I checked it, and I was like, it's out.
Yeah.
Like he was out by like 100 mil down the bottom, or 100 and something mil. So
lucky you picked that up.
Yeah, but that's
having that foundational knowledge though.
Yeah, you can't teach that. And a couple of my boys, like Sean's a really good chippy, and like I said, he's going for his license or his interview right now. I think that was one of the things that really impressed him. He's like, oh, you do your own setouts. So I'm like, yeah. And so I would show him how he did it, and now he does them as well. So yeah, that's probably one of the big things.
You do learn a little bit of it at Tech, but it's not as in depth as what you're talking about. And I think it is impressive when you get out to site and you can, like, there's just a dirt patch there, and you can, like, that's what I like doing as well.
Yeah,
like, I like doing our own set out.
Nice.
Give us one pin and we sort of go from there.
Yeah. Get the rear stab done, and then
and then you're good to go.
Yeah,
and like we did a little granny fat last year, and we knocked it up in we had the frame stood in concrete poured, site cut done, all in 4 days.
Yeah, nice.
And the client was just like, wow.
Blown away, yeah.
He was like, are you sure you can put frames on there the next day? I'm like, yeah, it should be all right. We're not loading it up with bricks, so.
Yeah.
But the guys on site as well took so much out of that. Like, oh, I didn't realize you could do that. And in my mind, I was like, what are you talking about? But now you're talking about that, I'm like, oh, they probably have never done that before.
Yeah. And that's what's happening now in the industry as well. Like people are specializing so much. So like you're a framer, you're a lockup, you're a fixed carboner. And I get that that's the natural progression for things to be more efficient, but that's not me. That's not my trade. And that's not what I want to do. Like I want to teach my guys start to finish carpentry and building. So I want to teach them how to do a set out. Most of my guys now are pretty comfortable on a screed or a bull float. And
you learnt concreting as where'd you pick that up?
Oh mate, I don't know why the fuck I picked it up. I don't know why. It was like probably one of the dumbest things I did get interested in. Because you bust your back doing it.
You do.
I have a lot of respect for concreters that can get a good finish, especially on a job. I think it's actually quite a stressful job. I think that's why most of them are pissheads.
Yeah, definitely.
I just got to escape my head at the end of the day.
Can I mention where you talked about where you poured a slab at your own house in the shed, and you perfectly described, like, right before a concrete pour, you've got everything set, ready to go, and you're waiting for the truck to turn up. Like, I'm getting goosebumps.
Yeah. It's the best day.
It's the sickest feeling, and you're like, here we go. Yeah. You almost need like that pump up music.
Yeah.
It's just building. Yeah. And the concrete truck turns up and everyone's on,
And then it's on,
Like that for me, I love that bit about construction.
Yeah. For sure.
And we'll talk about attracting new people a little bit later. But like the way you described that was just so on the money.
Yeah.
But going back to how you picked up concrete, was it just natural progression? Little 20 square meters.
Yeah, we sort of like we do our own footings, right? And I'd pour footings, and we'd do 86 mil brick course steps in the footings, and the brickies would rock up on something and be like, fucking hell, these are great. Like, it's all stepped correctly, and it's nice, like sharp. Everything's, bang on. So that's what I got taught from Johnny especially. He's like, mate, even in the dirt, be accurate to the mill.
Yep.
Just get it accurate now, and the job will just flow so much better over time. So because we did those footings and we could do them and get a good finish, then,
just rolls on from there.
You do a portico, you do an infill slab, and then Sean really loves concreting as well, and Matty, one of my boys, loves concreting, so does Brody. And then I poured a concrete benchtop on a job, and I was like, let's give it a go, and we played around with it and bought all the special little trowels, and especially when maybe a few years ago, concrete benchtops was
the rage,
right? It was black hardware, concrete benchtops, right? And so we sort of did that, and then we were like, well, if we can do this, surely we can do that garage slab or that shed slab for a mate in the bush, you know?
Yeah.
And that's sort of how it just kept evolving.
That's generally how it always happens.
Yeah. And I don't want to take anything away from concrete. Is like I wouldn't take on a house slab. Like that's beyond me. I wouldn't want to do, like you said, got an exposed ag driveway. I wouldn't want to do a massive job like that. We've done some exposed ag work, you know, but I just do it to help someone out or to make a job flow a bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into the big one. What do you see as the biggest challenge in the industry right now? There's a lot of challenges.
Oh yeah, there's a few. There's obviously the housing crisis, but there's a lack of builders willing to build now for sure because it's become like a bad business model. And I would argue that there's plenty of industries that have evolved where the business yesterday is no longer a good business. Do you remember when taxi licenses used to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars?
I do, 250 grand, I think.
Mate, they were a great business. You know, you could get one taxi and you'd run it for a bit and then you could get another and it would just work really well. Local hardware stores, another great business. Local hire shops, another great business. Blockbuster Video, that was a great business. You know, you got buy franchise.
Yeah. Get your pizza on a Friday night.
Yeah, none of these things exist anymore because like the larger conglomerates, I guess, change the industry, right? And I'm not saying that that's all a bad thing, but industries evolve, right? Yeah. Now, in residential construction, we had a lot of volume builders come in and people started wanting houses for 5 to 10 grand a square. And you're like, no builder can build that for themselves, right? Like I don't think in today's money, I reckon as a builder, you'd struggle to build something for yourself for 20, right? Yeah. And those volume builders can just beat you at every turn. Like if you go into the inner suburbs of Melbourne now, Metricon, Carlisle, all these bigger builders, and again, I'm not knocking them, but they dominate in those areas because people can get so much house for so little money. You know, the problem with that is it's a lot of house, but is it a lot of quality? And I would argue it's not, right? It's kind of like shiny and new, but it's not necessarily good. I think one of our problems in the industry in Australia is we're kind of building houses. I would argue we're building houses worse than we used to.
I agree with that.
Yeah. You know, windows have gotten worse. You know, well, they're getting better now, but there's definitely a lot worse windows out there now than there used to be. Like the cheap, nasty aluminium windows, they just don't perform well. Even like a builder, a brickie putting wall wrap on a wall is just a bad idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're playing with trowels and mortar, they don't want to be using staple guns and taping stuff up, and a house should be sealed well.
It's these little fundamentals. What you're saying is there's little fundamentals that we're missing.
Yeah.
And the soul's sort of being taken out of construction.
Yeah, because I think everyone just wants the big thing, right? Rather than it's like, instead of getting the 40 square house, why don't you build like a 25? Because it's probably all you need. And then just put better shit in it or make it insulated better. Put eaves back on your house, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like we deleted eaves. Like all houses in Australia had wraparound verandas. So if you had a weatherboard house with a wraparound veranda, you'd never have to replace your weatherboards. You might have to.
Because they're getting protection.
They got protection, right? So same as your windows. Your timber windows would never need replacing because they're fully protected by a veranda. You were protected from the hot sun and all those things. And like people would they would orient their house based on where the sun rises and sets in summer and winter. And so you can get the winter sun in and keep the summer sun out.
That's like number one with energy efficiency on a house.
Yeah. Whereas now you go to a massive estate, it's like, here's your 280 square meter block. It's next to 4,000 others, and that's the one you can have. So, and fuck knows the orientation of it, but that's the way the house can go.
Yeah, make sure the gutters don't touch.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
good to go.
Yeah, that's it.
It's disappointing that we've gone down that path now, and it's not about building the house is just about the house itself and walk into it and enjoy, that's it.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like what it used to be was like this, and what you're talking about is wainscoting in the house. There's a bit of
pointing.
Yeah, like a bit of feature.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now is that soul is sort of being taken out. We're building these white boxes.
Yep.
That don't have, when you look at them, oh, that's interesting, or how they've done that. It's just A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yeah, and this is the sort of thing that's kind of fucks me off a little bit with what we're doing in Australia. Like, we have this attitude of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or she'll be right. And it's like so backwards to evolving, right? Like, you take any other profession, like, okay, imagine a doctor just goes, well, that's how I did it yesterday, so I'm going to do the same thing today. Mate, everyone would go into hospital and they just get a jab of penicillin and you're done. That's all I can do for you, mate, Whereas medicine flies every week. There's something changing. And there's building industries around the world where that's happening, where there's new technology and new things coming out. And we're just like, nah, don't want to do it. Don't want to change it. Like the whole freeze of the NCC is like, everyone's like, yes, they froze it for a few years. So they froze the standard. The standard's the fucking minimum. Like that is the minimum that you need to build to. And so many guys are not building to that. Right?
Has Victoria got the 7-star energy rating in yet?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah. I think this is the other thing. Like if with energy ratings, people go, oh, well, just put a bigger aircon. Well, you've got to get fucking uncomfortable first, then turn the aircon on. And then you argue with your wife about who's cold and who's fucking hot, right? And then you get the power bill and you shit yourself. Like our house is so poorly insulated. We bought an old house. It's got no insulation in the walls, and then it's got single glazed windows. And I think our last electricity bill was like for the month, because we had the pool heater on and the solar's not working. It was like $700. Like we flipped out.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, I think I need to get some new solar. We've got to start looking at insulating. And man, you can have the heater on and the heater vent is in this part of the room. And if you sit over there, it's cold.
Yeah.
We've
got to be thinking about it better, and we've got to be, I think, communicating it better,
Yeah.
I don't like that the government is bringing in my take on it is I don't like the government bringing in these regulations and saying you have to do this. I would like there to be more education around it and say, if you spend an extra $20,000 on your house build or, then you're going to get a way better product that's going to be less energy efficient for you.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we try and regulate our ways around problems, and it frustrates me.
I think maybe it's because our attitude as the builder is not to actually evolve and to try the new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. I think if it was more led by builders that are being progressive, there wouldn't be such a need for the regulators to be enforcing that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
I do exactly know what you mean. Yeah.
Like if
we need to be more innovative as builders, and we need to push that forward as opposed to being told to do it.
Yeah, definitely. Like one of the things I'm working on at the moment is a project where we're looking to do volumetric modular construction. So I've built a little research pod in my factory, and the reason why I'm doing that is because there are people out there building volume, and there are people out there doing architectural, and there are people out there doing high performance. So like the podcast I went on, the Mindful Builder.
Love those guys.
Yeah.
Big shout out to the Mindful Builder.
Super smart dudes.
I'm hooked there.
Yeah. Me too. I think a lot of guys are there. But they're trying to educate the industry, right? And they're doing like the high performance passive house standard type of builds. Now, I don't subscribe to passive house as far as, its need in Australia. But I love that they do it, But not everyone can afford a Lambo.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
My thing is like, well, who's making Hiluxes?
Yes.
I don't want to make the sexiest house anymore. I built really beautiful stuff. I don't really want to do that. I want to build you a house, and I want you to never call me again because nothing goes wrong.
And
like not even a tap fitting, or like imagine that.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm such a Toyota fanboy. Like you get in, you start it, you drive it, and you can
thrash them. Yeah.
You can tow like everything, thrash it, not put oil in it, and the thing will still just chug along.
They just hold their value like nothing else.
And they hold their value. So imagine you had a Toyota as a house, because the only thing that's valuable in Australia with real estate is the land, right? And the house depreciates. But imagine you had a house that had such a strong kind of brand or such a strong reputation of being so well built that the house actually added value, right? But I couldn't name anyone that said, as a builder, that goes, we're going to be Toyota.
Yeah, that's a really good take.
But Toyota's so popular here.
Yeah, I know.
Aussies love Toyotas. Yeah. Even the older folk.
It's a match made in heaven.
Yeah, they love Corollas.
The 79 series just go forever.
Oh. So I have a love-hate relationship with 79 series. You know, they look great on the road, but I don't want to own one. I owned one.
Yeah.
I never want to have another one.
They're just, they're tanks and you get nothing with it.
Nah.
Yeah. But just on the housing crisis, sorry, I just had
Go for it.
1,000 thoughts there. I feel like it's hypocritical of the government to be like, we're in a housing crisis. It's like, you're creating the housing crisis. Look at the price of land.
Yeah.
You know, if you lower the price of land, builders can have a bit more freedom to build better houses.
Yeah.
I remember when I was an apprentice, like the land cost wasn't a big deal.
No.
And you
so
could
cheap.
You could build better homes because people had the budget for it. Now it's like the land price is 2/3 of the cost of the whole house and land package, or
Yeah.
And that's what disappoints me and frustrates me. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand that. You know, they buy a house and land package and it's $1.1 million, and for $1.1 million, you think you're getting a really well performing home that is this, this, and this, and you've got these volume builders out there that are not building to the minimum standards. Let's call it that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
in a lot of cases, not.
In a lot of cases, not. Yeah. And that's where I feel like there's a problem.
Yeah.
You know.
I would 100% agree with you. You know, but
the fix to the problem to me is more education and trying to get houses built better for less money. Obviously, is the thing, and the easiest option there is bring the land cost down. There's already
size down though.
Bring the size down as well. Yeah.
You know, everyone's like, oh, I'll just have a 200 square meter block, but I still want a 30 square house on it. Why do you need a 30 square house? You know,
you got to heat and cool that thing.
Yeah, you got to run that thing. You got to maintain that thing.
Exactly.
Right? And then you have less yard. So now you're stuck in your house. This is
why do you need the theatre room? Have a deck and pergola out the back.
Mate, one of the things we spend so much time outdoors, right? And our kids do as well. And we love raising them outdoors. We always are lighting fires and cooking on the barbecue and just, you know.
Me too.
Yeah, just hanging out together. I feel like it's a builder kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Kids got a little peewee and a quaddie and they cruise around the backyard. And that's such a better lifestyle and way to raise your kids, I think, than having this small block of land with a bigger house on it so they can sit on the TV or their iPad or gaming console. And yeah, I think if you had, I guess, an approach where you said, let's get a smaller house so we've got a bigger block of land, and then so we can spend more time outdoors. Maybe we can have a veggie garden or do whatever where the kids are outside.
Actually using their hands, doing something physical so they sleep better at night and they're not looking at a screen, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then this is one of the problems, and I guess it's going to tie into, you know, the youth, I guess. It's like I grew up outside. I grew up tinkering with shit.
I grew up on a farm, yeah.
Yeah, so you were even more that way, right?
I was playing with a tractor even though I was...
Yeah. Sick. I was jealous of you. But yeah, nowadays these kids are growing up in these environments and it's like, well, they don't want to go outside because they didn't spend a lot of time outside in their childhood tinkering with things. So their brains don't sort of work that way. They don't have those kind of fine motor skills I was using like a panel saw when I was like 8 or 7, like trying to cut some wood, you know, and we would just
get amongst it.
Yeah, get amongst it. Whereas nowadays that doesn't really happen. And then I think what happens is people are conditioned to like get up in their air-conditioned house, get into their air-conditioned car, drive to an air-conditioned office, get back in the air-conditioned car, stop at the air-conditioned shopping centre, you go back to the air-conditioned house with some prepackaged food that was made in a lab.
And then maybe go down to the park for half an hour and come back.
It just doesn't sound like a good life.
It doesn't to me either. I feel like, what's the fix to the solution? What's the fix to the problem?
I honestly think we need to have smaller houses.
Yep.
You know,
to make bigger blocks.
yeah,
Yeah.
you just fucking don't need the space.
Is that what better building is to you? Like better building, that term gets thrown around heaps, right?
Yeah.
And then as people that talk about design, delivery, materials, team culture, sustainability, what's better building to you?
Well, better building is be more efficient, right? More efficient and more reliable. Like, an efficiency also comes with not having to rebuild that thing in 15, 20 years.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that these new homes that have been built, they're only supposed to last 25 years. Like everything is
but
geared
they don't even get there, really. Not well.
Not well, no.
No. Whereas you go into a 100-year-old house, like, shit, this is still a nice house. It might not be well insulated, but it's still really well built.
Yeah, the archies are still where they need to be.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So better building to you is efficiency.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what I want to do. I want to be able to build a more reliable house. And honestly, in order for me to do that, I want to try and do it in more of a controlled environment rather than having to have 200 sites. Let's say if you're trying to do volume, if you had 200 sites, trying to control those sites is damn near impossible. I mean, you've got a lot of jobs going on. You know how hard it is to manage that volume. I've got a lot of jobs. I know how hard it is to manage that volume.
It's a logistical nightmare, and efficiencies are a huge part of that.
But also controlling all those little things that can go wrong is so hard to do when you've just got that geographical boundary of you just can't be everywhere at once. Whereas if you could build it in a controlled environment, then I think you've got a way better chance at eliminating all those little things.
So this is the Hilux home you're talking about, right?
Effectively, yeah. Look, it's not a business per se just yet.
It's a theory you're working on, though.
Yeah, it's something that's there. We're cooking on it at the moment. You know, we've got some plans going, and we're building the Revit model at the moment for effectively a 9 meter by 3.8 meter, 1 bedroom kind of pod.
Yep.
And if we can build it really well, deliver it really well, and it can last, then maybe we'll go, all right, let's see what happens when you put 2 together, all right, or 3 together, or stack them, and then where does that land? Where does that end up? Like, houses are the only thing that aren't made in a factory. I really can't think of anything else. Like construction, it's just the only thing that's not built in a factory.
Do you think it should go that way?
Yeah, look, I don't think it should all go that way, but I think if we are to try and help solve the crisis here,
there should be a market for it.
There should be a decent sized market for it, and I don't think we can solve that crisis with just going, let's put on more chippies. We do need to do that, we do, but I don't think it's one thing is going to solve the crisis.
I think you're 100% right there.
Yeah.
And the other thing I don't like is that new homeowners buying apartments. I think we should have more selection for new homeowners, or people just coming into the market.
There's not a whole heap of value in an apartment because the value in Australia is in the land, or in most places.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the one thing that you can't replicate is land, so that's where the value is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wouldn't want to be investing in an apartment.
What brought you to come up with this idea and want to go down this, explore this path? Is it the housing crisis that you're trying to solve a problem, or is it something you're passionate about?
It was kind of like, let's do something that is not ego driven. There's just it's not a cool business. Like the business I run now, it's not cool. Like, we just do the smaller jobs and emergency work and all kinds of other things. Like, we do excavating, concreting, all these things. And I found a lot of passion and I showcase the craftsmanship in what I do, but none of it is glamorous work, right? And it's actually rewarding us financially by doing that. And I was like, oh, maybe there's something in this, because my work was arguably super Instagrammable in the past, but not super profitable. So I think, and I said this in the Mindful Builder, there's an inverse relationship between Instagrammability and profitability. So yeah, we now do all this other work, and it's It's not sexy. It doesn't feed the ego, but it's good for the bank account and it keeps everything moving. And I think I'm kind of applying that theory because I've sort of, if you'd like, I've taken a bit of a sabbatical from, being a builder and I'm just doing more simplifying, being the trade, right?
Yeah.
So whilst I do that and I run this business, I'm working on this kind of bigger thing. And I guess that's kind of maybe it's going to be like my big swing, Been in business now for 18 years. Done a couple of things, done all right for myself. We've got a couple of properties and things are established. We've got a lot of experience. I was like, right, I'm 40. If I don't take a big swing now, I probably won't.
It's a good perspective.
Yeah, well.
It's a good reason to have a crack though.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, cheers.
I feel like that's intrinsically built into builders as well. Like that, I got to have a crack at this.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be, like a big job that they probably shouldn't take on. No, I'm going to take it on. You know what I mean? I'm going to have a go at this. I'm going to jump in when I'm maybe not 100% ready to.
Yep.
Like that's sort of built into us.
I think so. Yeah. I think but I applied it in the wrong ways in the past. And it kind of burnt me a bit.
Yeah. You got to learn those lessons though.
Oh, mate.
I like what you said about, the builders with the best Instagrams may not be the most profitable builders.
Yeah.
Because, I look at some of our projects and I'm like, it looks really great. And I'm like, didn't make much on that.
Yeah, you look at it, right? You're like, oh, fuck, I remember that photo.
The photo's good
Yeah,
though.
it's such a good photo. And the worst part, like the sort of kind of the kicker is like, I didn't make much money on this job and now I'm going to go and spend thousands of dollars to get professional photography on it as well. It's like, let's just throw good money after bad.
That's right. At least I might win some work. Marketing, yeah. But I can see how people that may not understand, the inside of it would look at that and go, oh, he's done this huge project and he would have made bank off that. And it's like, well, actually this little thing went wrong and that little thing went wrong.
Yeah.
Because they went wrong back here, cost me heaps down
here.
Yeah,
exactly. Like I said, it's like really cool at a party. People are like, oh, wow, what's the next project you're working on? Oh, you're building a curved brick wall.
Yeah.
Like, Like I built a dome ceiling in a small thing in Fitzroy. Like super challenging, right? But again, like financial rewards never there when you do it because you're like, I think it's going to take us 15 hours to do it. It's like, oh yeah, it turns out it took us 60.
Yeah, that's right. Fuck. Damn. And you can't go back to the client and go, oh, by the way.
Nah.
Like, oh, well, you said.
Yeah, that's right.
So how do you balance craftsmanship with profitability and sustainability?
Ooh. I don't know. I'm not like I don't profess to be an expert in a lot of things. In fact, most of the things I know is only because I fucked it up already. Like
But that's how you learn.
Best lessons I learned them really tough. They really left scars on me, and they're the things that I'll never do again. So I guess the craftsmanship approach is come through now. Like I train my guys, or I talk to my guys, and we communicate a lot and make sure we do everything consistently. So I have the system in place. We have checklists that they have to go through. They keep notes. They take photos, and then it allows us to kind of put craftsmanship even into a basic thing. And that comes from me as well. Like it's like, oh well, hey, you did this, this, and this on this job, and I saw the pictures because you loaded them and they're live straight away. Yeah. Before you leave, can you just tidy this thing up? Because I don't think we should leave that like that. And that's craftsmanship there in itself.
Definitely.
Right? If you don't have that oversight over your sites, well, you're not going to be able to deliver it kind of en masse. You're only going to be able to deliver it on the job that you're on. Yeah. And even then you'll be like so run off your feet. You'll probably shortcut it. Yeah. Because you're like, I've got to get back and do that quote and there's a fucking issue on this job. I've got to go put that fire out. You know what I mean?
It is a lot of putting fires out. I think it's fun though.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It is fun.
I think we love complex problem solving. All the time, over and over and over again. Like that challenge for me doesn't ever get boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes
that's part of being a carpenter, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like as a carpenter, you're sort of, you bear the responsibility of fixing everyone else's sort of problems a little bit.
Yeah, definitely in Australia, we're like the main trade, I would say. Like and that's the natural path of progression for a lot of carpenters. Is like a builder. A lot of them, if they come from a trade, majority is from carpentry, right? Because you're sort of there all the time.
Yeah, and you got to know the slab's a little bit out. You got to know how to fix that, and or if the
make sure you don't put your bottom plate more than 10 mil hanging over the slab.
Correct, all of that stuff. So you got to have a really good understanding of the NCC and how everything goes together and the different Australian standards, which frustrates me that we've got to pay for them. Yeah, wish they made those free.
That'd be nice.
What other industry is it like? Hey, here's how to do it, but you have to pay us so we can.
Well, we've got so many to do as well, like to adhere to. You got to get the NCCs, then you got to get all the Australian standards.
1684.
Yeah. Framing manual.
Onto the business chat.
All
right. What's your leadership style with the Heidi Build team?
Where we've got a fairly flat, what's it called? Org structure.
Yep.
Yeah. So I definitely don't see myself as, kind of like the managing director and then there's the team. It's my three main guys like Luke, Sean and Brody. I don't really make a whole heap of decisions without chatting to them first. So
collaborative effort.
It has to be. Like it has to be kind of two-way communication. These guys are smarter than me in a lot of areas. Like Luke's a jet as a chippy. Sean has a way better building knowledge than me. Like he's been stressing about going for his license. I'm like, trust me, I got my license. You're a better builder. I'm telling you now, right? You will be fine.
Good luck to Sean, by the way.
Yeah. I hope I'm like, I told him yesterday, I'm like, all that interview is them confirming what your application has already told them. So I'm like, you don't need to stress.
It is a stressful time, though.
It's so stressful. I remember freaking out over it going for my license. But yeah, when I was younger, I used to fly off the handle. I would make rash decisions. I would be disorganized with jobs. And, there's still an element of being disorganized with jobs because, I've said this in the past, the industry is organized chaos on a good day. But nowadays it's a lot more consultative. I have calmed down a lot and realized that, maybe I should be the last one to speak in the room, try to get the information from the guys first before I kind of render my decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that breeds more creativity too, because someone else might have a different perspective on how to build something to you.
Yeah.
But that other person, you might be able to meld that into like the ultimate way to build something, if that makes sense.
Like if you give them a bit of agency, they will take a lot more pride in their work.
Definitely.
And then it's great because then you're like, oh yeah, I don't have to worry about this because you've got the bag. And then sometimes when you give them that responsibility and if it goes wrong, they'll fix it off their own bat.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys, like if they're, good carpenters, they take a lot of pride in themselves and their work, then they'll do that a lot of the time. So that's what I've enjoyed now by being more, I guess, relaxed and more, having that flatter org structure.
Yeah, it is hard when something goes wrong to not get emotional and,
mate,
sort of thing.
I'm not great at it. Like, I've got to really watch myself. I've got to really be conscious of. Don't fucking act now.
That's right.
Don't do anything. Like, yeah.
What sets your business apart, and what do you refuse to compromise on?
Well, what sets us apart? I'll pick up the phone pretty much every time it rings. And if I don't, I'll call you back. I didn't used to be like that though. I was super hard to get a hold of. I used to avoid phone calls a lot. Whereas now, you call, I'll answer. And if I don't, I'll call you back. It's a really basic thing, but I think I heard that Jim's mowing, he used to not let, back when it was landlines, he used to not let the phone ring more than 3 times. That was like one of their cardinal rules.
I saw that too.
You're like, far out, that's a good rule.
Definitely.
So, and to my clients that are my regular clients, I just want to always solve the problem. So it's almost always a yes. And if it's not, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't solve that problem. And I'm telling you now because I don't want to
lead you down the path.
Yeah. I don't want to disappoint you later after you've already spent money with me. I'd rather disappoint you and you keep your money.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's undervalued, what you've just said there about answering the phone. I feel like a lot of builders can be hard to get a hold of. And it's really frustrating when you're trying to get onto someone or a trade or even a certifier.
Yeah.
And you're like, can you just call me back? Like,
yeah, it's such a basic thing that we get wrong nowadays.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I think what sets us apart, that and probably our ability to do something really last minute. So because we do a lot of work for other builders now, like excavating or concreting or whatever it might be, or some bespoke thing, some builders will call me like, hey, I need you on this job tomorrow because something went sideways and blah, 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 and I need 2 guys. And I'll be like, sure, I'll make it work. And usually I can move something around and make it work. So that's the other thing. I really pride myself on being available.
Yeah. So if I was to ask you what's going well in your business, it would be reliability probably.
Yeah.
And what else?
My wife is so good with admin, like financial admin. It's not funny. She's just on top of everything, mate. Like,
in terms of?
Like with buying and stuff, she's really good with strategic procurement. Like some of our pricing that we get, some of the bigger clients or bigger builders I know, they're like, how did you get that price? I'm like, my wife. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. I'll like message her. I'm like, hey, I want to buy this thing. Or sometimes we'll send a material list to Lauren and then she'll shop it out. She'll be like, hey, I found this and found that. Like we had to get color a Luca bond for a job and we couldn't work out the color. And, I was like, fuck. I'm like, and me being a typical tradesman, I'm like, look, just go there in the morning, set the scissor up, get up there, get the old piece off and take it down to the supplier around the corner and see if they've got it in stock. And Lauren, just off her own bat, has contacted the original developer for the factory complex, found the color thing, got it, checked it with the supplier. Supplier's like, yes, we've got it in stock. I'm pretty sure she screwed him down on the price too.
Yeah.
And then had it all set up. And I was just like, why don't I fucking do that? Like, why don't I? But it's just not how my brain works, but it is how hers works. So she'll do that. She'll get all the hours, collate all the costs, and it's good because with Arrowflow, it's all there. But she'll look at it and she'll be like, hey, the margin's really low on this job. I'm like, oh, righto. And I'll have a look and say, and then I'll call the boys like, why did we spend, an extra 4 hours there or an extra day there? And they'll explain it to me and be like, oh, okay, that wasn't on the scope. Okay, let's vary or, let's, even if it's something we can't charge for, we go, okay, let's not do that again. Right.
Where did that come from?
Lauren.
Did she build that?
Lauren's mum used to work at a bank when she was like really young.
Yeah.
She was like a teller. And so she would count all the money and right. And
yeah.
so she's really good with numbers. Lauren's mum was great with numbers. And then her parents have a business. They do pressure vessel inspections. So super niche, super high risk as well. And her dad will travel all around Australia inspecting pressure vessels, gas tankers, boilers, autoclaves. Again, like super niche.
Yeah.
But he wrote the standard, the Australian standard and a lot of this stuff, right? So,
so he knows about it.
He knows about it, really knows about it. And they were running this small, so it used to be government and then it got privatized and then they started their own business. Lauren started working for them and just kind of learnt off her mum.
She picked it up through there, yeah.
But she's just very analytical, like, and I said I could look at a P&L and find the anomaly or whatever. She will not do a journal entry in our books. She has to find the 1 cent, the 2 cent. Like Arrowflow has this real funny thing where it rounds like decimals off weirdly and then it doesn't
push it through.
Doesn't sort of work. And we've got this one line that says Arrowflow rounding and it shits her to tears. Like absolutely hates it.
That detail's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. So I reckon that's kind of like, if I didn't have her, in the business doing that stuff with that level of attention, I think it would be a very different business.
You need that person that's super high detail like that.
Yeah, because I'm not. I'm like real big picture. Let's get the job done. Call the client.
I can be, but I don't like. I get stuck down in it.
Yeah,
and the time just goes so quickly. I'm like, what's been the hardest part of running the business? Clients, cash flow, staffing. your own headspace. Like, you know, you went through a pretty difficult period there for 2 years. I remember I listened to that podcast where you didn't make much money. Like,
Yeah. That was probably the hardest thing, was going to work for 2 years to lose hundreds of thousands of dollars, or to lose over $1 million.
how'd you get up each day, and how'd you manage to get through that? Like, what was the driving force there?
When I first met Lauren, I told her, I said, I just want to let you know, I don't promise you when we worked out we were going to sort of be together. I said, I won't promise you an easy life, but I'll promise you a great one. I said, I'll always work my ass off, you know, and I will strive to do as much as I can from a financial success perspective, right? And be the kind of best version of myself. I said, at some point along the way, I may lose almost everything. I said, if that happens, actually, I said, I may lose everything. I said, if that happens, I said, I just need you to stick by me. I said, because I'll make it all back in 2 years. And I thought that would have happened maybe at 50. It turns out it happened at 38. So happened 10 years earlier than I thought it was going to happen, but I fucking predicted it. So I guess because she stuck by me and we just got in and did it. And also I have to say this, Sean and Luke stuck by me as well, right? We went from like 16 guys, I think we had over 20 at one stage, down to me and 4 others. And I was like, I don't know where the next job's coming from. I actually had a start of the year meeting with them, and I said, the plan is that I have no fucking plan. We're just going to see what comes at us, and we're going to try and do our best at it. And I was a shadow of myself, right? And having those key people around me stick with me really helped. Having a really good accountant really helped, you know. And I guess I just had a few mentors and a few people around me that, you know, kind of said like, hey, if you can turn this around, this will get better. And like I said, getting out of architectural or custom home building for retail clients and going and working for national clients, I had a mate whose whole business model was doing that, and doing like the insurance stuff and everything like that. I called him and I said, man, I need a chop out here. If you've got an in for me, can you get me in? I said, I don't care what I do. And I remember going and cutting in a skirting board on a job in Ivanhoe for $180. That was the value of the job. And I was on the phone to my accountant when talking about how much money I've lost over the last 2 years. And I was trying to scribe the skirt off the back of my ute with a coping saw that I had to buy from the local hardware because I didn't actually have a coping saw. So I'm like, okay, it's a $180 job and I've just gone and spent $27 on a coping saw. So yeah, I think that was a really memorable moment for me, going and doing that job. And I remember driving off from there going, well, I spent about $50 and it was just my time. So I made $130. Like, well, that's a lot more profitable than the jobs I've been doing. Although it's not enough money, you know, I was like, but if I can stack more of this together.
Replicate.
And it just went from 180 and then suddenly I get $1,000 job. And then before we knew it, we were getting 40 grand purchase orders for bigger jobs because they were like, yep, because you're reliable.
Yep.
So.
But just listening to what you said before you were talking about that really tough time, is it? I feel like you already had the confidence in you that you knew you'd get through there. Do you think there's a part of that? Like, you were definitely in the trenches and you're probably hating every day. But there was always that. Was there that thing in the future? Like, no, I believe that I'll sort this out.
I've always looked at like 10 years in the future, 15 years in the future. I used to go to bed as a kid and I used to dream about the cars I would have when I was older. Now, I've not had any of the cars that I used to dream about, but I would always be like a bit of a dreamer, I guess. And so having this really long-term goal that sits out in the distance for me has been my driver, right? If I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to keep going. And I've always had this blind, stupid optimism that it'll work out, right?
Just that confidence.
Oh, I don't know where it comes from.
Don't know where it comes from?
It's stupid. I would not recommend it.
But I think that's valuable. Like, for someone that's listening to this and maybe going through a tough time, like, You know, what would you say to someone like that?
Well, don't get off the train at the shitty station.
Mm.
You know, if things are going bad, don't quit then. You're just getting off at the place you don't want to be at. Just keep going. You know, stay on the train. Get off somewhere better.
Yeah, that's perfect though.
Yeah.
It's 100% right. Like you just got to grit your teeth and hook in.
Yeah.
And things will get better.
Yeah.
You know, the sun will rise tomorrow, etc.
Well, you have to make changes. Like you have to absolutely do some analytics, I guess, and really maybe a bit of soul searching. And the soul search for me was going, you're running this business because of your ego.
Mm.
That's why you want to do custom homes, architectural, $1 million, $2 million houses. Now, I had nothing left. I'm like, well, I can't afford it. So I did the analysis. I'm like, I don't think I can make money. This is another area I think I can make money.
And away you went, and it's working well.
Yeah. Yeah. It's working really well.
Yeah. We talked about one of the things I like that you do is like you do the excavation as well, and you do some concreting.
Yeah.
Talk to me about why you did that. Like what brought that on?
I'm pretty good with my team nowadays, but I was never really great with contractors. Like I told you, I was arguing with this guy over the phone, like short temper, you know. I just got frustrated. Everything I brought in-house is brought on from frustration with contractors.
Mm.
I found concrete is really expensive. I found them a bit hard to deal with, and we started doing our own small stuff. I would never do a steel job where the steel was plumb and where the posts were at the right height.
Yeah.
It was like always something wrong on a steel fab job. So we started doing our own steel fab, and it helps that one of Sean's best mate is an absolute jet.
Is that a warehouse you're building? I've seen.
Yeah, that's out in Cheltenham. It's
That's
like
cool.
a mechanic shop. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it got fully re-engineered, and it's really complex. And we've been able to really sink our teeth into it, and it's been a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the guys that are there have learned a fair bit in that. There's so many angles and so much stuff going on, and so much structural stuff.
Well, that's Sean. Like he's so good with that stuff, right? Like he is one of those guys where you'll call him and you'll be like, "Is everything all right?" You'll be like, "Yeah, it's fine." Like, well, you kind of sound depressed, you know. But you put him on a job, and he will work out every problem and solve it all.
Yeah, those guys are so good to work with. Number one,
Yeah,
and like they just calm everything. Like I've got a few team members like that.
Yeah.
And like they'll see me and they know, hey, he's a bit, you know, overstimulated or something.
yeah.
And they're like,
Oh, that's
it's all right, mate. You just go walk over there.
Yeah.
We were doing a pool dig last week, and it turned out and then one of our bobcats was leaking diesel out the back, and I just lost my brain. I was, you know, and they were like, it's okay. We've duct taped it up. We've cleaned the machine.
Yeah.
Everything is okay, you know. But just that value in them understanding, okay, you know, and I do the same thing to them when I see them really overstimulated or something like that. But it really comes back to your team and who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, how much, like we spend more time with these people than, you know, you do some of your family.
Yeah, bloody oath you do. And you've got to have the complementary personalities, not the same. Like, yeah, like you said, like you might be a bit excitable or overstimulated. Sean's not like that. Like, so for me, we got to a point where we do concrete pours. And I remember one pour we did, and the concreters had their laser out. And I was like, no, I'm going to put my laser out too. And my laser ended up interfering with theirs, and they were like getting the shits on. And I was like, no, because I don't trust you. You go within 10 mil, like you fucking hacks, you know? And it got to a point where Sean goes, hey, we're doing the pour today. Don't come. Like it was basically like, I don't want you there. Please don't come. And then it also got to a point like that with frame inspections, because I would get into an argument with the frame inspector, with the building inspector, because they're like picking something, but I'm like, that's not a 140, that's a 190. I'm like, you can't see it. Go down, get in the lottery and go and fucking check, you know?
Yeah.
And they're just asking the question, right? This is the first day on the job. Like they're just coming to this job blind with a set of plans. So they're asking the question, and I'm just losing your mind.
Yeah. Oh man, that's good.
Yeah.
How do you stay motivated and avoid burnout when everything fails on you?
I don't avoid burnout, man.
You don't avoid burnout?
I can't. I can go in and out of it like an idiot every time. I always bite off more than I can chew.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't. I'm not good at it, actually. I will. What I try to do now is I try to have at least 2 or 3 breaks throughout the year, and that kind of gives me a little bit of a reset. But I tend to generally let it get too long in the tooth, and then kind of crack it, and then kind of overpay for a holiday or do something last minute. It's kind of like go,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm not great at that. I wish I was better, but I'm like one of those guys that, instead of operating at 80% so that I've got 20 in reserve, I'm just like redlining, you know, all the time, because I'm like, no, let's go faster. Let's take on more. And that's kind of my biggest flaw, I reckon.
Is that because you just love it that much, or is that because you just get so into it?
I think, I think I just get so into it, and I get kind of carried away with the idea or with something. And then before I know it, I'm like fucking overcommitted,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's like, yes, no.
Yeah.
Yes.
And there's been so many times in my life where I have said no, and I've gone, oh, thank fuck.
Yeah.
That would have absolutely destroyed me if I said yes to that job.
That's an underrated skill you need to learn, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
say no.
I've heard there are 2 types of people: people who say yes too much, and people who say no too much. And you're one or the other.
You're one or the other.
Yeah.
I'm in the yes camp.
So I've surrounded myself with heaps of people that say no too much. So the people that are closest to me will say no too much. So I'm like, yeah, let's go. And they're like, no, fucking shut it down. Stop, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they probably win half the time, or maybe a third of the time. The rest of the time I'm like, yes, we're doing it. You know?
What do you do for yourself outside of work?
Cars, motorbikes.
Is that HK you got?
HK, yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Wanted one since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Thought I was going to build it in a year. Took me like 4 years, 3 engines. Just had shit luck with it.
You're just so into it now you can't sell it.
Oh, mate,
Yeah.
I'm so down the garden path with that car. I'm like, that's never going.
We don't realise the losses until we sell it.
Yeah,
so
that's
not selling
exactly
it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that's one thing that Lauren's not 100% on how much we've spent on it. So I'm going to keep it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like you got to have that other thing that just switches you off, whether it be the gym or whether it be, cars or whether it be mountain bike riding or something like that. I think that's a bit undervalued. Sometimes we do get so up in client satisfaction and job progression and, all of these things that we forget we need to do these things for ourselves to take a bit of a break, and it's okay to do that,
Yeah, absolutely. And like some guys don't really have hobbies. I mean, that's kind of my only kind of thing is like anything to do with cars. But I don't get to do it a whole heap. But I've found the social media stuff is a little bit of an outlet for me, or a little bit of a break, It's kind of like that creative thing. It sort of almost fills your cup a bit.
Definitely.
And I don't know, how do you find doing the podcast? You find like that actually gives back?
100%.
Yeah.
Like after each podcast, I feel energized. I feel relaxed. I feel reinvigorated to jump into it and succeed in construction. Or just do better,
Yeah.
And I think, it's almost like a psychology session for me.
Yeah.
Like sitting down and just talking about what makes you tick and how you do things and why you do things a certain way and how you operate with your team, and then finding like common things there's a lot of common things that like builders or tradies or, people in the construction space have I think, that are successful, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah. No, I'd agree with that.
But like what on the social media, like what made you want to start doing that?
I used to put a lot of effort into curating our social media. So like we'll put negative space around images. We'd have a landscape image, then the next one would be portrait. We'd have professional photography done. I would like really pour over the caption, what we're going to say and who our target market is and all of this shit. And it just didn't work. Like it was a beautiful looking page, but it just sort of went nowhere. And it was kind of off the back of everything. Right. And then I just think one day I'm just going, fuck it. I actually don't fucking care what anyone thinks. Like
That's generally the way the best things happen.
Yeah. And that's kind of, even coming here, I was sort of overthinking it a little bit. I'm like, I want to say that. And maybe I should talk about this. And what should I wear? Like I was even thinking about, I put into ChatGPT, like, what should I wear?
Yeah.
And it told me to wear like a nice shirt and everything. And I'm like, No, fuck that. Because I don't fucking care. Like I don't care what people think of me with what I say, on social media. I don't care what people think of me with how I look or anything like that. Like I dress the way I'm comfortable, and I say the things that I'm comfortable to say or I want to share.
That's it. End of story.
Yeah. And if you like it, great. If you don't, I don't care.
And a lot of people have liked a lot of your stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like you're doing a fantastic job of capturing feelings and explaining feelings. Like the concrete pour is probably one of them.
Yeah.
The other one is about the post you did about being a builder and how difficult it is.
Yeah.
Where did that thought come from? And like, where do a lot of these thoughts come from?
Oh, they honestly, most of them come to me late at night. A lot of those things come late at night because I'm kind of processing the day. I'm thinking about the next day, and you start reflecting on things. I don't know if you do this, but usually
100%.
when I'm trying to wind down, I'm just like, going 100 mile an hour.
I have to listen to audiobooks to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I need something else.
I've got the Calm app.
Yeah, there you go. Otherwise, it's just like straight into me.
Yeah. So now that I've got this outlet, these ideas sort of come to me, I'm like, and I'll just write a note down, or sometimes I'll record a note, and then I'll kind of find some quiet time and I'll expand on it a little bit. And I might do a few different versions of it until I'm happy with it. But that one in particular, there's just every time I open the newspaper, builder going broke, builder owes this much money to these people, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, why do you fucking think that is? It's not because we're all assholes and, drive AMGs.
Yeah.
It's because the industry has turned on a dime and it's now kind of unrecognizable from what it used to be. So building is fucking hard now. And it's definitely not what I thought it was when I started my apprenticeship, when I decided I wanted to be a builder. It's now not what I thought it was or what I wanted to do. So I guess that's why, I kind of shared it. And again, because I don't do this private work, I don't have to impress a client or an architect anymore. So I can just say what I want. And I guess a lot of builders are like, fuck, that's great that he said that because I think that. So many people don't understand the home warranty side of things.
No idea about that.
They don't understand how attached to your assets that all is.
My wife didn't understand that until I sent sent that message to her. She's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's how it works."
Yeah.
Like, if everything goes bad and something goes wrong, then we'll lose our house, and we could potentially lose our house, I should say.
Yeah,
and it's going to be bad.
Yeah,
and that's a lot of pressure for a builder and with a family, and that's not seen by our clients. They don't understand. Yeah, we're building your biggest asset, but we're putting our biggest asset on the line to do that.
Yeah,
and 3 others.
Yeah, and it's all the money you got to shell out constantly front. Like there's a lot of costs that you have to wear at the start, and like I said, you can't really and you sort of shouldn't front load a contract. You kind of have to have the money. And it's a very capital intensive business.
It is, and and I want to explain that, more and get people to understand more about building, because a lot of you only build one house generally in your lifetime. If you're lucky, you might build 2 or 3 for yourself, like as a client,
Yeah. And
I don't know if people are doing as much research on building a new home for themselves as they would on buying the new car.
No.
So I think part of education, like as a builder, we need to educate our clients more and tell them more about how it goes together, why it goes together, and the other side of it as well.
Yeah, because it's a different process to like a car, right? You don't get someone to design your car and then someone else to build it.
That's right.
You know, and you don't a client can come to you and be like, look, I want this house, but I want this cladding and these windows. It'd be like, hey, look, I want this Ford Fiesta, but I want Lamborghini wheels on it. Yeah. It's like, well, the wheels are 400 mil wide on the Lamborghini. You won't have any rear seats. But that's what we do in building. And then we go, oh, fuck, this is not working on site when you build a custom home. So it's kind of what you have to do. And I thought that doing like a design build kind of business model would kind of solve that a little bit. But I guess it was bad timing for me. I just wasn't ready to invest and go down that path, which is why I'm now slowly bubbling away with this other thing. It's like, well, I'm going to design it.
Yeah, make it good.
Make it really good, and I'm not going to pretend that it's the best looking house.
It's the Hilux.
It's the Hilux.
I love that.
Yeah. It's not even going to be the most comfortable house. Like, it'll just be super reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But going back to your social media, and I do want to touch, the next topic I've got here is inspiring the next generation and getting more people into construction.
Yeah.
Do you think that your social media presence and good builders or good people in construction should be communicating more about construction on social media so we can attract new people? Do you think that's a big part of it?
Yeah, I've kind of inadvertently become this kind of representative of the average chippy, the average on the tools builder, you know, that obviously has resonated with so many people. I'm not saying that, like, you know, things are flying and everything's amazing, but I've definitely hit a nerve with a lot of people. Like, I got a lot of DMs about things like that one I told you. A couple of people messaged me and said, look, you know, we've lost our business. My husband's depressed. We're so glad we saw your post. It's really helped us. I was blown away by it. I was like, fuck, I just fucking kind of put it out there. So that was the first thing that really, really hit me, you know? And then other, like, younger carpenters would message me and ask me, like, hey, like, I did a story last night and I just said, you know, it's not all race cars and brand deals. Like, you know, this is what I'm doing. It's like 8:15 and I'm sitting in front of my computer. And the amount of people that DM me going, what's that program on your computer screen? Like, is that a schedule?
Wanting to know, yeah.
Yeah. And then I had all these different conversations with all these people about what I do for scheduling and stuff. And I realized, like, shit, I can actually maybe help people. I'm not saying I'm going to become some coach or something like that. I don't. And a lot of people have asked me, like, oh, are you going to monetize? How are you going to monetize? You know, and I'm like, nah, I don't think I am. I just enjoy doing this. And I'm just going to keep saying what I want to say. And I don't want to have a brand or sponsor that is going to control what I can and can't say. You know, I just want to be myself. And if it resonates, great, you know.
I think what you're showing too as well to people potentially looking at going to construction is the benefits out of it.
Yeah.
Like building your own sashes for windows.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, I mean, you went on a race day yesterday. That was pretty awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
You know, so there is these cool things that you can do within construction and like that shed build you did. And you know, so you're displaying these cool things you are doing in construction.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think people need to realize now, the youth, I guess, need to learn that there's more out there than what, you know, than social media, than office jobs and everything like that. Like, I'm a big advocate for doing a trade.
Me too.
Right. Like,
it's a good foundation.
Can you imagine you started on a Monopoly board, instead of starting with cash, you started with debt, like a hex debt, and then you go around and you land on fucking Fleet Street and you're like, well, fuck, I've got no money. Like,
I'm in debt.
And I'm in debt already.
Yeah.
Whereas a tradesman or an apprentice, you go around first time, collect $200. You go around again, collect $200. You got, like, you come out the end if you collect $200 after those 4 rounds, whereas the uni student has collected a debt, right?
You get paid to learn as a carpenter.
You get paid to learn, right? And this is the thing that I think a lot of people are mixing up with apprenticeships. They're like, oh, it's not enough to live off. Well, you fucking shouldn't really have to live purely off that. Like, maybe you should live with your parents whilst you do it. That's why apprentices used to start young. I started when I was 18. If I had to start when I was 27, that'd kill me financially. But if you do an apprenticeship and you get paid to learn, you come out the end of it with a qualification. You've earned money throughout that process. Plus, if you say work with someone like yourself, someone like me, you're working with an entrepreneur. You've got access one-on-one to someone that's made mistakes, that's done other things well. Like, I've got a few properties. I've taught so many of my guys about little financial mistakes that I made when I was their age. I'm like, mate, I got a loan for a WB panel van. One of the dumbest things I ever did, right?
I did that, yeah. I've had that with apprentices. Don't buy the SSU.
Don't buy the 79 series now. It's not the SSU anymore, which is worse. The 79 series is dearer.
Buy the Hilux tray back with 2 toolboxes on it.
Yeah.
Good on fuel.
Mate.
Great resale.
Exactly.
They look shit though.
Yeah, they do. You know? They look real shit. But you're not supposed to look good as an apprentice. I had an 88 model Navara. We used to call it the Red Baron. It's a single cap, and it had a white canopy because I found it like on Trading Post, back when Trading Post was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what I'm trying to maybe bring to light is that there's this whole lifestyle that comes with doing a trade, and if you can just get past the shitty money at the start, you're going to be on really good money, and you're going to have someone that's mentored you throughout your apprenticeship that you will learn business stuff off. It's just, even if you don't want to, you're going to absorb it because you're with a small business. If you went to a corporate job and you started out as a like undergrad or whatever that it's called, you get a low level job, your manager is a mid-level manager.
Yeah.
So they're probably not doing all that great either. They might think they are, but they're not doing anywhere near as good as that tradesman. Right? So, and if you wanted to learn from the higher ups, you kind of got to network and
Now, you're big into DeWalt, so I know the answer to this one, but what's your go-to tool setup on a dream job? It is
right. I mean, if it's not DeWalt, it's Festool, right? And I've got a lot of Festool stuff. I would say though, how I made those windows, I had the DeWalt table saw, the DeWalt drop saw, and the DeWalt thicknesser. And I've had a couple of guys ask me, because everyone knows I'm DeWalt, and they're like, I'm Makita, convince me otherwise, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, you can stay Makita, that's cool. But even if you are Makita, you're still going to get that DeWalt table saw, that DeWalt thicknesser, and that DeWalt drop saw.
Yeah.
And nothing compares to them. So
we chatted on the phone yesterday. We said exactly that. I got a DeWalt table saw, DeWalt thicknesser, and I'm getting a DeWalt droppy.
They are the best. Like as far as like Australia on site, I think a Festool table saw is pretty small, and it's like $3,000 or $4,000. It is not an insignificant price jump. And for me, I would just be so petrified to let anyone else touch it, or to put it in a ute and for it to like move around a bit. Yeah, Whereas, I made those windows I made a tenon jig on the table saw. It was great. It worked really well.
Yeah, I think there's something about DeWalt in the drop saws. I don't know what it is, but they're just bulletproof, big, well built, and they don't move. Like you don't have to constantly re-zero it. It's just a tank of a thing.
What we said earlier as well is it's been like that for years. Like when I was an apprentice, so I was like, we're talking 20 years ago. My boss had a DeWalt 12-inch drop saw, and almost nothing else DeWalt. I think like it was like Makita and Bosch and all kinds of other stuff, but that DeWalt drop saw is a consistent thing amongst so many cheapies.
Festool always gets in there as well. Like, I mean, I was always, I want a Festool track saw. I really wanted that. That seems to be the Rolls Royce of track saws. Yeah. But the price is just hard. And I'm going to throw it in my trailer and it's going to bounce around. Yeah. In the box and
I'll tell you what's another good Festool tool is the framing saw. I've got a 9 1/4 Festool frame saw that's got a retractable guide. So you can jam it up against the edge of the timber, set it to 90 and just cut a perfectly square cut. So you don't actually have to square the timber.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You just put a mark, like your measurement, and then just set the guide to it and it retracts. And then you can set angles on the guide.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Is Festool German?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, there you go. What's a tool you won't compromise on? What's something that you're like, no, any of them?
Any of them. I will.
So you're finicky about that stuff?
I'll call guys before I interview them. So if I'm hiring someone, I will chat to them on the phone first. And if they don't say one of the main names in tools, they're not getting an interview. It's like if you tell me you're running AEG or I don't know, Ryobi. If someone said Ryobi 1, I'd almost hang up. I'd be like, nah, I can't even do this. But I just think if you take yourself seriously, you invest in your tools. And you need reliability. And for me, I need track record. When I started with DeWalt, I told them, I'm like, man, I am not a DeWalt guy. I'm on the red stuff, right? And I've gone I've gone through them. I'm like, mate, no, I've got all Milwaukee gear. I'm so invested in it, blah, blah, blah. They said, come in, try this new impact driver out. I tried it. I was like, it's pretty good. And then as I was sort of leaving, he goes, hey, do you want to try our new 54-volt power saw? I was like, all right. I was like, no, this is pretty good. And they just go to me, here you go, take them. And I hadn't signed up anything with them. There was no affiliation. They go, just take it and see what you think. And I took it and I was like, these are bloody awesome.
Yeah.
And it just sort of snowballed.
Then you'd gone on a race day with DeWalt.
And now I'm going to run on a race day with DeWalt, which was epic.
What's the best thing about? Oh no, that's the wrong bloody. Oh, it's been a while since I've done one, so I'm a little bit rusty.
You're all right.
Yeah,
I've never done one. So
what's a small detail on site that only a builder would notice, but you love? It's related to tools because there are little details. I feel like over a header of a door, I like seeing the trenches done. If you're doing
yeah.
You know what I mean? I like that. I like that extra little bit of time that's been taken.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like going to someone like a builder's house and they've just put like a whole heap of extra little details, kind of into the build. Like the last house I built was was really modern, and this place I'm doing really what's it called, like more of American things. There's a lot of like wainscoting and picture rails and all that sort of stuff. So it's all those little details. I think it's like lots of little details is what gets me. I'd say it would be just the general. Actually, you know what it is? When a builder's got an eye for design as well.
Yeah.
Because that's not a thing. That's not a given, right? Like you can be a builder and be really shit with design and not know what goes well together and build something kind of weird.
It's another skill you need to develop, though.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sure. And I'll go down the path a little bit and then kind of cock it up a bit as well.
Is there a project that you think that you've completed that you still think about, like in a good way?
I did a job for a lady in Fitzroy, and she was a barrister. Well, she still is a barrister. And I remember signing the contract with her, and I was like walking her through the contract, which felt super stupid because I'm walking the barrister through a contract. And she was like, just not fast, just signed it, all good. And I was like, are you sure you don't want to like think about it? She goes, I'm a barrister, it's all good. And I just thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, so if we fight, you win. But she could not have been a better client. I mean, so that's the one we did the domed ceiling. We did a curved bulkhead. We had all this integrated joinery. We had a curved splashback to the kitchen with a curved LED light, integrated joinery to plaster, same, 2-pack paint going to plaster wall paint. There's heaps of little details in this job. And the architect is a professor or something. He works at RMIT. And so he's super creative as well. So it was really challenging, but it was so rewarding because she was so easy to work with. So every challenge we went through it together. And I remember sending her, I'd send her a variation notice and she'd just pay the notice. I'm like, it's not an invoice. That's a notice. I'm just letting you know that that's coming. You just need to sign and return it. And she goes, well, I've already paid it. Do I have to sign it? I'm like, no. So, and then at the end of the project, she got us like a case of Billy Cart champagne or something like that, plus an oil scent burner thing, which we still have.
Yeah.
And, I was like, she was just a client from heaven.
So it's just good to be around, good to work with.
And so appreciative.
Tone of voice and appreciative, yeah.
She loved, because she's like, I love how pedantic you are.
Yeah.
She's like, it just makes me trust you implicitly, whatever you think, was kind of always the response.
That's exactly what you want. And I think if you're someone thinking about building, some advice I would give to you would be think about the tone of your voice. Like if you say, why is that built like that? Or you can say, hey, why is that done like that?
Yeah.
Can you explain it to me?
Yeah.
There's two the same question, but like, one of them is inflammatory and the other one's a bit more. Can you just explain this? Because I don't understand.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We'll move on to the quick fire round.
All right.
That is never quick, and that's okay.
All right.
So take your time answering these. What's one tool that you can't live without, Joel?
Table saw.
Table saw.
Yeah.
That comes out every day.
Well, whenever I'm doing something these days, I'm using. Well, actually, no. The thing that comes out every day would be an impact driver.
Impactor.
Yeah. Do you remember when you were an apprentice? Like you didn't have impact.
No.
It was like a cordless drill.
The cordless drill, the big dog.
And if you were real cool, you had a Panasonic.
Yeah, I do remember, that. The grey ones.
Yeah,
that little kit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's
and then when
when
impacts came out, we were like, "What's this thing?
Yeah,
this is awesome."
Yeah, they changed the game.
You can just click a bit in and out.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. The red batteries on the old Makitas.
Yeah.
That's it. I completely forgot about those Panasonics.
Yeah. All the Sparkies had Panasonics.
All the Sparkies, yeah. On brand.
Yeah.
What is the biggest myth in construction you want to bust?
The biggest myth in construction. That we're all pissheads and our bodies all break down at 40 and we're all divorced and bald and fat and broke. It's just that's not what it is anymore.
No.
I know more tradesmen now that go to the gym and that have. I mean, I'm not one of them currently, but I know more tradesmen that are super fit that have this great balanced lifestyle, that are really healthy. They're great fathers, they're great husbands, they're super active with their kids. Like, mate, I know more tradesmen like that now than the other way, And as I've gotten older, I've learnt that old stereotype. I was sort of going down that path in certain ways, and now more I'm like valuing not drinking. I'm like, oh yeah, don't drink during the week, and I feel so great for it.
There's a shift in the culture. There's
Yeah.
a shift in construction. It's been big, and I think it's going to get bigger.
Well, I try to go for a walk like every day, and it just clears my head. And yeah, I'm able to, like, one of the cool things for me now is my office at home. I'll sit there in the morning. My kids will come out and say bye to me, give me all a kiss, and then Lauren takes them to school. And then more often than not, I'm back there when they get home. And man, that is the coolest thing ever.
Going back to that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get such a good lifestyle if you have a trade or a trade business. Yeah.
Definitely understated.
Yeah.
What's one thing you'd fix in the industry tomorrow?
I'd probably go back and not do the Xav Build. Yeah. Like, I think.
A lot of headlines.
Oh, mate.
Holy shit.
I think. Yeah, I just think that kind of screwed us. It screwed residential building so bad. So if I was to change anything, I'd probably change that. And then the other thing I'd say is, instead of sending 4 universities out to a high school, send 4 TAFEs. And those TAFEs should talk about trades rather than doing a bridging course to get into a uni degree. Like, we really need to bring that back.
100%. I think it starts with the parents, and that you're not seen as a failure if you go into a trade. You're seen as someone going in on a different path.
Yeah, if I had $1 for every time I got called a dumb tradie, I probably wouldn't have to work.
Yeah, 100%. What's the best advice you've ever received?
You can either spend money or you can make money. You can't fucking do both at the same time.
That's a good one.
That was told for me by my mate's dad. He's mentored me through a lot of stuff. Old school Italian, had pretty decent sized business, and helped me a lot along my career with just little bits of advice like that, where, because like I said, I didn't have any financial sense growing up, and he used to tell me, he's like, you just can't fucking do both, mate. You either want to fucking make money or you want to go and fucking spend it. You fucking pick one. And he'd also say, making money is easy. It's what you do with it is what matters. So I'm not saying you need to save 70% of your income, but what I tend to do is, a lot of my hobbies, aside from cars, a lot of the things that I have real interest in ends up being a money-making sort of thing. So like, you know, we bought our factory. We did that through super. We we told them, I said, I wanted to do the fit out, and that was fun for me. So I said, I don't want the office, the basic office that you guys are going to, you know, give us with the factory. I'll do it myself. And so I got all this kind of weekend work and fun out of building that. Do you know what I mean? And it added to our asset portfolio.
I love working on my house too.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
My first house was like the biggest piece of shit on an acre. You could see the grass growing through the skirting boards. It would like creep through in spring. We renovated that, and I had so much fun renovating it, and we made like 380 grand on that one property, and that really helped.
Set you up.
Yeah, really helped.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Slow down and don't take on too much. That's advice for me. Yeah, my biggest thing was I'd always just bite off more than I can chew, and my whole theory was bite off more than you can chew and then chew like fuck. But sometimes it's really tiring. And so like I look at my age now at 40 and I'm like, I'm every bit of 40 at the moment, you know. So because I started my first business when I was 21, and after my apprenticeship, I've been in business for myself. And I made a lot of mistakes along the way, and most of them were born from just trying to do too much at once.
That's a good piece of advice.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone will listen, but
we enjoy the journey, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, take it slower.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to do outside of work?
It's probably going to sound kind of boring, but just kind of spend time with the kids and stuff. But I think you know, maybe to elaborate on that a little bit more, my favorite thing to do is teach my kids life skills that no other kids are learning. So I really take a bit of pride in being pretty tough on my kids. Like, I'll let them climb the tree or the ladder at 3 years old, but I'll just stand there, and I'll let them fall, but I'll catch them, you know, or let them at least, you know, kind of get the shock. And to me, that is kind of moderating the adversity that they're dealing with. Whereas I think too many parents don't allow their children to deal with any adversity. They kind of shelter them and do everything for them. Whereas I'm like, well, my theory is you should moderate the adversity that a child deals with. You definitely shouldn't be the adversity, which there's definitely kids that are grown up with in adverse conditions or parents that make their life harder. I try to expose my kids to some difficulties, you know, and some challenges, so that they kind of grow in ways that I didn't as a kid, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what they learn.
Yeah.
They've got to fall over themselves and skin their knee and have this bike stack and,
yeah, you
know, do the dumb thing. Because otherwise, what are they going to just float about? And then that'll happen later in life when, you know, you maybe not be there.
Yeah, and they won't have that ability to persevere. It won't be kind of programmed into them. Like my kids will fall over now and they'll get up and it's tears and everything. And I'm like, what happened? And like sometimes there's people around. I'm like, what happened? And I won't go and run to them and go, tell me what happened. I hurt myself here. Where? Show me. I'm like, you're fine. Walk it off. And they go, like they're kind of shocked, and they're like, and then they collect themselves, but they've just calmed themselves down. You know,
they know it's okay. They've done that body check. They're not waiting for you to come over, give them a cuddle, and be like, it's okay.
Yeah. You know? Don't get me wrong. When they really hurt themselves, it's usually there's like no sound at all coming out. You're like, and then you run. You know? But
I think that's an important one because, yeah, you know, you need to let them fall over because they've got to be able to pick themselves back up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter fell off the couch when she was she was like a toddler and she split her chin open. When that happened, I heard Lauren scream out. And when I heard that, I was like, bang, in the car, let's go.
Yeah.
Straight to the Royal Children's. Right?
Yeah, that's not what happened.
That's let's go. You know, but that's where you make that quick decision and you sort it out. You know.
The last one in the quick fire round. Have you got anyone who I should get on the podcast next? Got anyone that comes to mind?
Who should you get on the podcast next?
I do love that Melbourne scene. I will say they're real good on passive house down there. They're real good on different building types. And I feel like Melbourne is closer to what Canberra builders do as opposed to Sydney. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll jump in.
You guys are in a bit of a valley here, right?
So we've got really cold winters.
Yeah.
Really warm summers.
I don't know. Maybe you should you've got a few seats here now, right?
I've been thinking about asking the boys to come up.
I reckon you should get Hamish and Matt to come in, because Hamish is like, they're really contrasting. You know, Hamish is like a lot like us. Like, he's got an excavator as well, like boots on the ground kind of builder and stuff. Whereas Matt will openly tell you, guys, I don't even know what the fuck to do with this thing, right? But like, Hamish is, I don't know, I don't want to sort of say the wrong thing, but like, he's really good to talk to and everything like that. And so is Matt, but Matt's super opinionated and he will not hold back on telling you what he thinks. He does it now, like on Instagram, like on the V8 supercar thing. He's like, "Is that electric?" Right? And I'm like, man, you live that sustainable builder life. Like, he is all about it, you know. So I actually think that would be a really good thing for you, because it'd be, I think you talk about a lot of really important things, and those guys are doing really great things. And I think what they talk about will resonate with the Canberra audience.
Definitely. I commented on, they put a photo up of some building wrap that wasn't done right ages ago. And I'm like, can you stop flogging carpenters and builders? Like, let's get some positivity in there, not knowing that a podcast. They're like, yeah, champ, come and check out our podcast. We talk heaps about it. And I was like, oh, sure.
Yeah. You probably just saw something and wrote it quickly, and then you're like,
yeah. If someone has heard this podcast and wants to get in touch with you to do some building work, where can they reach out to you, Joel?
Mate, just probably the best thing is Instagram, because I'm on there. You know, I check all the DMs and everything like that. So just through there. If you want to go through the website, you can go through the website. But our website's not a real great representation of who we are these days. But yeah, just DM me on the gram.
Yeah, good to go.
Yeah.
Last thing, what's one quote you live by or say to yourself on the tough days?
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Love that one.
If you're going to sweep a floor, you sweep the floor right.
I think I've got the same quote that I use. Actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. If you're washing up, wash up to 100%.
Yeah. Or there's one other, which I actually had saved in my emails for ages, which was victory is to him who fights the longest.
Never give up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, and lastly, I just want to say a big thank you for you. You've taken out, you've come up on a Tuesday. You've taken time out of your day. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. I hope a lot of people I'm sure a lot of people get a lot of value out of that podcast. And yeah,
Cheers.
All the best, man.
And I want to also thank you, because you doing this podcast, you paid for me to come up here. And I think that is such a big thing. I already spoke to a few guys through Instagram about how impressive it was that you're willing to actually shell money out to get to someone like me up here. It shows you believe in what you're doing and you're willing to put your money where your mouth is. So, mate, mad respect to you. So, thank you.
All good, man. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Done.